Today's discussion will be about the ERC enrollment process and how to navigate through ERC. When logging onto ERC, you'll want to go to the client.enterpriseerc.com. Your login is going to be your email address. Your password will be your first name with a capital letter, 123 exclamation point. That is also something that I will set up for you, so you won't have to worry about that. Once you're logged in, you can always look at the pie chart here. The green on the pie chart means that these are vendors that are already compliant, which is fabulous. This is what we want to use. The blue is locked accounts. Now these are accounts that have not paid their yearly dues. ERC is $150 yearly. So for these 25 vendors, they just basically need to go in, pay their dues, and then make sure that all of their insurances and all the paperwork is up to date. Over here, we have the non-compliant vendors. These vendors are just missing some information. For example, the A&H door, their insurance is about to expire. If you look over here on the history, it shows you that the evaluation letters have been sent. Clearly, either they're not getting them or maybe the email address needs to be updated. When submitting a new vendor, if you don't see a vendor here and you want to submit a new vendor, please email the accounting department or me, Danielle, and submit the vendor's name, mailing address, phone number, and email address. This is going to be the email address who will help get the enrollment completed. You can also, once the vendor is added, you can use the email here, documents@enterpriserc.com, and they can send any documents that need to be uploaded to their file to that email. They can also use the support email address for any questions that they have for ERC. So once the vendor is added, let's go over here to a compliant one. You can use any of these vendors, and you can always look at the details of what their industry is, what email they have set up, their addresses, the renewal date. This one was actually just renewed today. And their history will show that it was set to compliant. It shows that the compliant letter was sent out. Any contracts, or sorry, any documents are going to be under the document tab. These are all paperwork that Collins requires to be up to date. Let's go over our exempt pie chart area here. These are vendors where a board wanted to waive the ERC process. And if that is the case, then we'll need to have the board fill out the variance waiver. The variance waiver can be found on the Y drive under All, labeled ERC Variance Resolution. You'll just take this to your next board meeting, have the board fill it out, and sign the bottom, and then submit it to me so I can add it to the file on ERC website. For the period of time, Collins uses 1 year at max. You can always put 2, 3 months, 6 months, or just do the 1 year. Once the 1 year is ending, the vendor will start getting emails to enroll. So if you're no longer using that vendor, I can go ahead and delete them or archive the file in case you want to use them at a later date. Sometimes if you need immediate help when you're in ERC, you can use this Need Help button up top. It'll pull up a live chat with one of the members, and you can ask them any questions that you need. If you're looking for a specific vendor, you can go ahead and use the search bar up here. If you can't find them in the pie chart, it's easier for me and for most people to go ahead and just use the search bar, and we'll put in the word plumbing and see how many vendors come up and what their status is. So here you have the A and B plumbing, you have all above plumbing, anybody that has the word plumbing in it is here. And you can also see their status. So here we have the all above all plumbing is compliant. This would be a great one to use. Obviously, if we keep going down, we see Let's Plumbing has not been enrolled yet. So let's click on that one. And if you go to the history, you can see that this vendor had plenty of invitations. Now, either the invitations were going to the spam, maybe they weren't going to the correct email address. And if that is the case, I can go ahead and update the email address and resend an invitation. Okay, and the last one I'm going to talk about is our incomplete and pending. These are areas where there's just something that the member hasn't, or the vendor hasn't completely filled out, or they're just missing one item. But other than that, we use ERC to make sure that all of our vendors are being regulated and monitored, and that all the paperwork is up to date, and that they are compliant with Collins